This episode of Total Drama Reviews contains clips from Total Drama Action. I do not own Total Drama Action. All rights go to FreshTV. Remember to be civil and do not be me in the comments. Seriously, it can get really messed up. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, and this is Total Drama Reviews. This is where I, as a lover of animation and reality shows, look over the show and combine them together the best. And the episode we're looking over today is the admittedly frustrating 2008 A Space Owen. Now, I mentioned in my last Total Drama review that from Rock and Roll onward, the remaining episodes of Total Drama Action left a sour taste in people's mouths. And I wouldn't say the episodes are that bad, though for the most part aren't exemplary. My guess as to why people thought this, though, is, well, I've aired the occasional grievance about several of the remaining 5 contestants. Courtney being a pain in the ass, Duncan putting abusive fun over actual strategy, Beth's holier-than-thou attitude, you get the idea. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of feeling the same now because, spoilers, some of the contestants I just named end up winning the season in the end. And since some people aren't particularly fans of these characters, that means because they win, the season sucks now. And if that's what people dislike the end of this season for, I genuinely don't think the remaining episodes are bad in regards to that. But if we're talking actual story plot holes and botched humor, 2008 A Space Owen sadly is a kind of poor episode. Not as bad as Rock and Roll, but still not great. So, what about this adventure in the stars is so bad, and what about it is also not so bad? Well, prepare to go where several people have gone before. This is 2008 A Space Owen. We open up early one morning, or possibly just before midnight, they keep it kind of vague, as the characters seem to be out of sorts.
Oh, my back. Oh, what's with the mattresses? Are they filled with rocks or something?
Maybe I filled Duncan's mattress with rocks. And maybe I didn't. But yeah, I totally did.
Now this is where I become very conflicted about the episode, because that was very funny. In fact, at one point I was viewing this episode and thought it was actually really good overall because it had me rolling on the floor laughing. And then there was another time where I thought the episode was insufferable due to several things involving the challenge and contestants getting under my skin.
Oh, come on, make up your mind.
I'll give my general opinion at the end, obviously, but this opening scene legit had me thinking the episode might actually have some strong comedy. You got the guys and Beth acting like cave people.
What a bunch of Neanderthals.
Not cool.
I did not know you were there.
Because they see Chris himself wearing his leopard skin loincloth complete with George of the Jungle style hair.
I could have sworn we already did caveman movies.
We did, Harold, but we had to reuse the costume since my astronomical salary accounts for, roughly 97% of the show's budget.
Does that remaining 3% include the bungee cord breaking and superhero? Seriously, I get that the joke is just how full of himself Chris is, but it stopped being funny before the first season began.
While today's movie genre may start at the dawn of time, it quickly moves up, and away!
Ooh, this is so exciting! I love sci-fi! Don't you get enough science fiction with that imaginary boyfriend of yours? What's his fake name again? Brainy? It's Bray D. And he's totally real.
Listen up, space cases.
Okay, ignoring that transition was about as slick as a gravel road, yeah, we get the return of Beth's boyfriend Brady getting mentioned over and over again in the episode. And yeah, he's been mentioned a couple times in the past few episodes as well, but not prominently enough to where I can't ignore this plotline. Not the case here. Beth again brings him up a lot.
Brady, it's from Brady!
And if you have any hope that it won't be a detriment to the episode,
your bus has arrived.
More on that later. And as to why he's constantly being brought up here,
I have a very special surprise for you. Each of you has received one special item sent to you from the outside world.
Yep, the contestants get presents from home, another event common from Survivor. And ignoring the fact that there are 6 packages despite there only being 5 contestants, This segment is actually pretty funny too, with Owen being given a trophy rewarding him for heroic behavior.
Awarded to the most trusting, caring, honest student who always puts others before himself.
Courtney getting a picture of a solo win of hers.
When I was head of the school debating team, my partner walked out on me during the biggest debate of the year because she felt I wasn't being a team player.
I couldn't have wrote a joke better than that.
Harold receiving nunchucks, which makes me wonder where the ones he had in Phobia Factor came from. Beth receiving a freaking ring pop from Brady as a substitute for a promise ring.
Brady says it's a sweet ring for his sweet lady.
That may be the perfect ring to give Beth because in the end she can go ahead and suck it. And honestly, my favorite present from home, Duncan's.
Trophy!
Dude, that's one small dog.
It's not a dog, it's a tarantula.
Aren't tarantulas like the fourth most deadly spider in the world?
They're only dangerous when they're startled by loud noises.
No way!
Ah, get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
And not only was that a very funny moment, but I actually kind of like this sentimental side of Duncan.
Oh, I love you, Scruffy.
It legit reminds me of when he got a new bunny for DJ in the first season, and why.
My dog Petey ran away on me when I was 6, and I didn't want DJ to have to go through the same thing, okay?
Which makes me realize he had a dog at the age of 6 and now a tarantula at the age of 16 as a bully? He is this close to becoming the new Buzz McAllister.
You growing on my ass.
We then cut to a thrill ride set, which will have a challenge take place in a makeshift space shuttle, giving them the experience of zero gravity.
Your first outer space challenge will be to spend the rest of the night on the shuttle sleeping in zero gravity conditions.
And yeah, it's not really made clear what the requirements are for winning Part 1. A working theory I have is that it just makes Part 2 trickier to win, which is actually possible, but unlike the Big Sleep, which makes that abundantly clear, this doesn't. And that's kind of annoying because it feels like the writing just put a placeholder in the middle of the script. And yes, it's made clear who wins Part 1 and why, but that should be something hinted at before the challenge starts. Like, watch out for any malfunctions the ship might encounter, or keep an eye on your crewmates because one of them might kill an electrical and then vent. Hey, I had to put some reference to that in here. Granted, once the zero G's hit, it's kinda cool and we get some playful banter between the contestants.
Duncan, can I have your pillow?
Already gave it to Scruffy. Zero G's can be tough on the little guy.
As if I'm going to play second fiddle to a tarantula. Ugh, I hate that gross, hairy creature.
And his pet spider too.
And his pet spider, too.
Yeah, this is one of those burns that doesn't really count because you can see it coming from a mile away. But I guess the plot has been overall above average. Let's bring it down a letter grade right about now.
Your snack is stuck to your finger, so you don't have to go chasing after it.
Just one of the many pluses of being a kept woman.
Why tie yourself down when you can keep playing the field? Like moi.
OMG, Harold is so crushing on me.
Yep, it's more of Beth playing the field, believing Harold wants her.
Well, Harold, aren't you gonna offer to help me down?
Wasn't planning on it.
He so wants me.
Okay, that is very dumb writing, but I can excuse that stupid assumption, but what I can't excuse, like every other time, is Beth actually being taken and then just screwing around with other guys in the cast.
Harold, for the last time, I'm off the market.
She's a big teaser.
This isn't even like when Peter Parker kissed Gwen Stacy while MJ was watching. That really was just cockiness and naivete mixing together. There is no naivete here. Beth knows what she's doing and isn't the least bit ashamed of it. Which would be fine if this was Heather or even Justin we were talking about. But Beth is supposed to be a heroic character and is behaving about as heroically as Sharpay freaking Evans.
And you have a problem. You've been hit by an asteroid, and your guidance system is toast.
We have to manually override the navigation system.
Well, that got solved pretty easily.
I'm evil. Evil!
Oh. Okay, I have a number of problems with this scene. And intriguingly, none of them are about Owen actually doing that. Though he didn't say that word correctly, you're supposed to say it like this. That will never not be funny. But yeah, him directly sabotaging the others in this challenge is actually fine in my book. I get it, he's bound by contract to stir the pot. And as bad as he usually is at doing that, this actually isn't a terrible way to make a situation harder for the other contestants. Which is what the show basically qualifies as drama anyways. No, here's my two biggest concerns. One, I know it's just a ride, but even in a simulation setting, no spacecraft would have windows thin enough that they could be broken by freaking nunchucks. But two, and more importantly, what was the point of the first malfunction? Like, seriously, it came and went stupid quickly, and I'm not even sure why they kept that in the episode. Was it just to pad the runtime out more? Because this episode really should have had enough plot to sustain 22 minutes. There's a subplot with Harold and Duncan with his spider, Owen's mole storyline, even Beth and Courtney's girl lines, which they utilize to fill up the hole. The best they possibly can.
That was smart, sealing the breach with those two pillows.
Chef, those aren't pillows.
But yeah, if they just expand on those subplots a bit more, I think this could have otherwise been a solid episode. But instead, we also have Beth being a player again, and not in the reality show sense, and this useless 20 seconds. I know it's just 20 seconds, but I'd have barely noticed it if the other subplot I just mentioned didn't take up way too much screen time in turn. Especially when we don't need it because all these other subplots more than suffice. I don't want to compare this pointlessness to the Star Wars prequel trade talk, but you're pushing me to that limit, TDA. So the girls win part 1 for taking initiative in the second sabotage, as opposed to Harold doing so during the first. Oh, why bother? As they win advantage in part 2 of the challenge, which they aren't told outright what that entails.
As a reward, you'll both get to decide the order of who goes first to last at the next challenge.
I know. Let's you and I go first. That way we can... yeah, we've decided, Chris. The order will be Harold, Owen, Duncan, Beth, and last but not least, me. I'm going last, so I can watch the others try the challenge and fail. That way, I can learn from their mistakes.
We'll come back to that shortly, but after that, we cut to this memorable homage.
Can we stop walking in slow-mo now?
20 more yards.
You guys are walking in slow-mo?
Where it's revealed part 2 is an endurance challenge inside a G-Force trainer.
Or as I like to call it, the Vomit Comet. Wait till you feel the effects of 4 times Earth's gravitational force. Courtney and Beth have already picked the order. Harold, you're up first.
No, wait! I changed my mind. I want to go first.
Too late. The order is set.
This is exactly what I tried to warn Courtney about. But would she listen? No.
Okay, so we know Courtney was wrong and Beth was right in this scenario, but how were either of them supposed to know what part 2 of the challenge was? Courtney's strategy would have honestly made sense in any other situation, and Beth isn't psychic. What reality shows has she seen with vomit comets used for challenges?
In this roadblock, 2 people must enter this centrifuge and ride the machine until gravity presses on them at 3.2 Gs.
Okay, point taken. So Harold goes first, meaning even if he'd won part 1, odds are he'd have picked this order anyways if he guessed correctly too, making part 1 even more pointless. Ooh, I'm getting a headache. And as he begins his trial, a pertinent question is asked.
Hey, where'd Scruffy go?
Let me out! Let me out!
5.6 seconds. That is just sad.
Where's my Scruffy? No, Scruffy!
Yes, that's right. Cry. Cry like Sauron when he lost his contact lens.
Yeah, as much as I felt for Duncan's genuine love for his pet, 1, he's had this coming for a while. 2, a pet tarantula, especially out in the open, is a terrible idea. And 3, because Scruffy died, we get this funny confessional from Courtney.
Scruffy is in a better place now. Yeah, anywhere but here. Now maybe Duncan will focus on someone with slightly less hairy legs. Me!
I didn't think I'd have a second chance to use my gavel, but let the record show that Courtney said her legs are less hairy than that of a tarantula. Is that really the bar she wanted to set? Next, Owen and Duncan go, each with pitiful times, and Duncan even being the first puker in the capsule, leaving only the Girls Alliance to compete.
If we both refuse to do the challenge, then we'll have strength in numbers at the elimination ceremony.
If I can take the plunge and say yes to Brady, then surely I have the strength of will needed to climb into a vomit-coated spacesuit and get hurled around like a rag doll for 5 minutes. They're practically the same thing, right?
Okay, time for another CLR, aka Criticism Lightning Round. I mean, I'm genuinely not sure who's making less sense here, Beth or Courtney. Beth compares riding in a tight G-force-inducing capsule filled with vomit to being proposed to you by a professional male model.
If I can take the plunge and say yes to Brady, then surely I have the strength of will needed to climb into a vomit-coated spacesuit and get hurled around like a rag doll for 5 minutes.
Yep, if we wanted a joke about Beth being almost as selfish as Chris, but with 10 times the stupidity, we got it. That much I know. But then there's Courtney asking Beth to not do the challenge so they have strength in numbers.
If we both refuse to do the challenge, then we'll have strength in numbers at the elimination ceremony.
Are they implying that her winning the challenge would make her lose her vote? Because this kind of tactic would make sense on Big Brother, because on that show they have a challenge called the Head of Household or HOH competition. The person who wins it is safe for the week but has to nominate 2 people for eviction. And after another competition, which might result in one of the nominees being saved, whoever is up for elimination after is voted on by the House to see who goes home. And the people who can't vote are the nominees and the HOH, unless there's a tie, in which case they're the tiebreaker. So there, if you're immune due to that competition, you don't vote. But that has never been the case for Total Drama after the merge, so where exactly is Courtney pulling this out of?
I mean, my ass!
What?
So Beth gets into the vomit coma and successfully wins the challenge. Well, that's a good way for her arc in this episode to go out on a high note.
You totally reek.
That's just the smell of victory.
Victory smells a lot like vomit.
You made your point, Harold. I'm calling it off with Brady and giving us a try.
Oh.
Okay, 1, ew! And 2, I can't believe Beth actually did something even more disgusting than kiss someone while covered in vomit. Remember this shit?
You've been chasing after a boyfriend all this time? With a honey back home?
Sure, my boyfriend's a model, but he's still just a guy. Justin is a supermodel. I can't help myself. Now that my braces are off, it's a whole new dating world.
So she has a boyfriend and she's dumping him. For Justin. On national television.
Ooh, that's cold, bro.
Okay, she didn't actually break up with Brady in that clip. In fact, she even verbally states later that she just wanted a triangle between herself, Brady, and Justin.
Brady could teach you! Then I'd have you both to myself.
But now, after this proposal Brady just made, I know it's just a candy ring, but it might still be real to him. She breaks up with Brady for frickin' Harold.
That's worse. I mean, you do get how that's worse. Right?
Not to diss Harold, but ignoring the fact he isn't interested, how can she possibly consider this okay?
Brady and I were never meant to be. I'd return the ring, but...
Say what you will about Trent's behavior to Gwen at the beginning of this season, but at least you knew he cared about her. How is Beth treating the guys on this show the same way Mrs. White from Clue treated all her ex-husbands?
Husband should be like Kleenex. Soft, strong, and disposable.
Ugh. So after the girls call off their completely unnecessary to the Pla Alliance.
The Girl Alliance is over! Fine! Fine! There's no team in I, so from now on, it's the Courtney Alliance.
Forming my own alliance, Party of One. It's an all-girl alliance.
Harold deduces that Owen was a mole based on part 1 of the challenge. Using criteria I don't even get.
What's it to you, traitor? You were the only person not accounted for at the time of the fuselage malfunction.
Okay, I know they weren't flying on the TARDIS, but Is that spaceship bigger on the inside than we thought? Because it all looked like the same main area. How was he not accounted for? And if it was the same main area, are you seriously telling me that no one noticed Owen blatantly breaking a window?
Oh god, I didn't even see that.
Hey, come here. You didn't see that?
So the award ceremony pops up with Beth voting Courtney, Harold voting Owen, and Duncan and Owen voting Harold. The only vote left a mystery is Courtney.
Back off! There's a reason this is called secret voting, people.
Score one for the Girl Alliance.
The Girl Alliance is sticking together, Chris.
The Girl Alliance is over.
Girl Alliance?
Girl Alliance.
You're all as good at keeping secrets as a talking bullhorn. But if I had to guess, she'd create a 3-to-1-to-1 majority, with Harold being sent home.
5th place? But Owen's the traitor. You gotta watch that guy like a hawk.
You know, Harold, if you showed proof of this to everyone before the award ceremony, maybe they'd have voted to keep you. Just saying, hindsight is... Actually, I vote to retire that phrase permanently.
Haven't I suffered enough?
We'll see about that.
I guess that reference flies here. Makes more sense than it did in The Adventures of Kid Danger, that's for sure.
Great Scott! Run, Doc! Smith!
And you'll see how our remaining contestants suffer. Next time on Total Drama Action!
Actually, before we conclude this Total Drama review, one last thing to bring up. I mentioned at the beginning that certain less liked contestants make it far in the competition. And Harold was a pretty well-received contestant this season, so it seems a lot of people really hated him being eliminated. Some thinking it was almost as bad as when Lindsay was also this season. Oh, no it is not. I mean, of the 5 remaining contestants, I did want Harold to win the most, no question about that. But Lindsay's elimination was so forced and contrived, it single-handedly killed that episode. It had a few problems outside of that, but I could maybe overlook them if that one particular scene didn't exist. This episode has a lot of problems too, like Rock and Rule, but the elimination wasn't one of them. Again, as much as I wanted Harold to win, I'm a seasoned reality TV watching veteran. I've kind of gotten used to the idea that my favorite won't win every time, or even most of the time. So I accept Harold being voted out if it makes sense based on what happens in the episode. Well, Owen votes him out because Harold knew his secret.
Harold's onto me! I know it!
Duncan voted him out because, inadvertently or not, he killed his pet spider.
This'll teach you to mess with my scruffy.
And assuming Courtney did vote for Harold, what possible reason could she have for doing that?
You guys think you're so funny. Let's see how you like it when someone messes with your love life.
So yeah, Harold's elimination, whether you like it or not, at least makes decent sense in the context of the episode, as opposed to Lindsay's, which came out of... Oh, where was it again, Penner?
I mean, my ass! What?
And now that concludes 2008 A Space Owen. I'll put it as a contender for my top 5 worst episodes of Total Drama Action, but it'd be kind of a shame if it actually made the list, because I don't hate it completely. I mean, okay, bad episode, I guess I put it in that category. But if it gets a failing grade, then that failing grade is a 59%. That's an F, but kinda barely. I like the idea of these challenges if they just flesh them out more. And heck, I'm a sci-fi kid at heart. I feel there's a lot of potential with this genre, and the humor kinda gets it, at least at the beginning. But with Beth just being a colossal, disgusting rat towards Brady and a lot of pointless plot threads, I just couldn't appreciate the episode completely, even with the good it was trying to achieve. So, worse than Rock and Rule? I don't quite think so, but it's definitely a launch that should have been aborted. So fine, we have an episode that might actually explain the backlash these last few episodes got, and I assume the next one continues that downward spiral. That was actually kinda good, not gonna lie.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom.